Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to relate to you some things that happened to me more than 40 years ago. In 1982, I went to visit my aunt and uncle in Italy. I was living in Toronto, Ontario, Canada at the time, and my aunt and uncle lived in a town called Santa Maria Imbaro in Chieti, Italy, where I was born. One day, they were celebrating the feast of the town's patroness, who happens to be Mary. The town is named after Mary. During the procession near the church, several people were carrying the statue of Mary, and as the statue approached, it developed real qualities. It became real to me. It made subtle gestures like it was looking below at the people carrying her, saying by her expression and gestures that she was honored that the people were honoring her in this way. Later, when they brought the statue back to the church, they brought the statue to the front. I was standing at the back, and again the statue became real to me as before. I had never experienced anything like this before. I remember thinking that I had reached another level in my spirituality, like the saints, having received from God graces like them. Other unusual things were also happening, both before and after this happened. One thing that I recall was that people on TV spoke directly to me like they knew me. I know this is hard to believe, but it's true. Eventually, when I returned to Toronto, it became the Lord Himself, actually Him speaking to me through people on TV. And it was so real. I knew that God was real and that I had received a special blessing. Another time, as I was sitting in front of the house, my other aunt, who was visiting from northern Italy, approached me holding her cane. As she walked towards me, it became Jesus, and as she smiled, it was the Lord's smile. Her actual appearance didn't change, but her walking and smile, the Lord conveyed to me that it was Him. Just to situate where this was happening, the town where I was staying is in the central east part of Italy, right across from where Medjugorje is located, on the other side of the Adriatic Sea. If memory serves me right, it wasn't until 1984 that I heard about Medjugorje and that Mary was appearing there. When I returned to Toronto, other things started to happen. For example, I saw Jesus as light in front of the TV at home, and also part of His body. I saw Him on the cross, and also being taken down into Mary's arms. Someone else was also there, which I thought was Mary Magdalene. I saw Him on the cross on the ground, and they abused His body. He walked towards me and sat in my place, showed me His spike wounds on His wrist and palm also. These were all images I was seeing in our living room. As I was going to lie in bed, I saw Jesus using my motions to lie on the cross, and He stayed with me. That is, as I was getting into bed, moving my arms and legs, it became Jesus lying on the cross. I also had a strong sense, like a vision, of the Lord's skin. In my diary notes, I wrote something to the effect of the following: "It is so old," referring to His skin. "But remember, the corrupt process of aging in man has been overcome because He conquered sin and rose from the dead and resurrected body and soul into heaven. The beautiful characteristic of age is left." We had a neighbor across the street that had a small house on their front lawn with a statue of Mary inside. The following is an excerpt from my diary. I saw Mary in the little house across the street. She moved back and forth and then approached me and then moved away to my right spiritually. And then when I got to the living room, she entered me. It was beautiful. It was her. These were some of the first times I experienced Jesus and Mary in this way. Another time, Mary entered Another time Mary appeared as a white light with some yellow mixed in, and it seemed a little like she was radiating from a center, like the burning bush Lord in the Ten Commandments movie. She was in front between the right wall and the entrance to the living room from the hall. She was like an aura. She seemed to have a border, but really extended much more dimly beyond it into the rest of the room and the area beyond the border. She was shining in the kitchen with the Heavenly Father as my mother was there. These are just some examples of what I was experiencing at this time. I have kept these things to myself for so long, as I didn't know what to do or who to tell. Each time I thought about telling someone, I never actually followed through. I didn't think anyone would believe me. I wanted to write a book, but I didn't really know where to start. I asked God to forgive me for not telling anyone before now. Thank you so much for listening, and I invite you to subscribe to my channel.